and we are live with Bruce Werber. Dr. Bruce Werber is the CEO of BioX Tech. He's also the founder of that company. It's a regenerative therapeutics company. Bruce has an interesting background. For first, he's been a doctor for quite some time, practitioner, right? I believe in Honduras, Bruce.
Yes, I've been a lower extremity surgeon for just about 40 years. I finally got the practice right, so I was able to no longer practice. But I did a lot of trauma, reconstructive, lower extremity surgery, and I still do doctors with Honduras. Else, I'm actually going to El Salvador couple of weeks, and in every other year for pediatric reconstruction, clubfoot type deformities, really severe pediatric deformities is what I go abroad for a few weeks every year.
Right, and I think you're lagging a little bit.
Our main business, BioX Tech.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we good?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of
so
lag.
our business, BioX Tech. I'm sorry, I missed that, Charles.
Yeah, there's a little bit of lag on your side, but go ahead, continue talking. We'll try to deal with it.
Okay. So BioX Tech, I've been part of my practice. Patients several like to hear that they have to lose part of their body, amputation. So I've always been on the mission to mitigate amputations, starting with platelet-rich plasma in the mid-'80s, then bringing in extracorporeal shockwave therapy with the PRP that helped, but still wasn't a game changer. And in 2007 or so, I came across placental tissue. This was the game changer. We were able to take patients with wounds that were 3 years old, facing amputation, and we were able to convert them with using a therapeutic derived from placental tissue to a healed state in 63 days. So this was a real big game changer in 2007, 2008. It took a couple of years to collect enough data to publish the series showing that 20 patients facing amputation we were able to convert to a healed state on average 63 days. And from there, this has built quite the industry in regenerative therapies. The stem cell industry using placental tissue derived from all the leftovers after a healthy baby is born. So what we do is we consent the moms, we qualify the moms, make sure that they're healthy, the healthy pregnancy, healthy baby is born, and then once the healthy baby is born, we collect everything that's left over, all the afterbirth, and we use all of those components to derive our all of our products for regenerative therapy.
Right, it's quite fascinating.
Let's start. We basically have.
Yes, there will be a delay,
yeah,
Bruce, in between the connection. So, tell me a bit more about like why you started as a surgeon, a practitioner for all these years, and then you sort of pivoted to a company, to founding a company, to being a CEO in the business world. Why did you make that actual decision?
Well, it takes money, time to bring these products into mainstream medicine. Unlike a traditional pharmaceutical where there's a small molecule that you can patent and then obviously make money from it, as we see with the Pfizer's, Modernas of the world. God made all of this stuff, right? So we can't patent these molecules. They're human-made. And so what we can patent are the processes on how to process it. But there's not quite as much cash return, if you will. So it still takes a lot of effort to get through the FDA to bring them to what we call the approved medical treatments. It's taken almost 20 years, and we're pretty close to the finish line. We've done clinical trials A lot of people may be aware of the membrane products. These are used quite significantly on diabetic wounds, to accelerate diabetic wounds. So these membranes are taken from the sac that was carrying the baby. And so we take that sac, we cleanse it, we process it with our proprietary methodology, and then we cut it into a variety of sizes so that these patches can go on diabetic wounds, traumatic wounds. They go on the heart to reduce complications with heart surgery. So these patches are very powerful anti-inflammatories. So it's taken a while to get all of the approvals. We're in the final stage of getting the patches approved as a medical device. So that's one piece of the puzzle. That's taken us quite a long time to navigate the FDA pathways. Our second product is a cosmetic. We take the fluid that the baby was floating in. We take the fluid that the baby was floating in. We take the goo inside the umbilical cord, not the blood, but the goo, what's called the Wharton's jelly. We mix that all together and we make that into a topical cosmetic. That reduces, it gives a more robust appearance to the skin. It also appears to have a significant improvement to reducing some of the fine wrinkling. It appears to have an effect on reducing some of the scarring from acne and other scars. So this is a topical. And then lastly, we have the last piece of our FDA puzzle, and that's our injectable, also made from components of the fluid that the baby was floating in, as well as the goo in the umbilical cord, that Wharton's jelly. And that's an injectable. And we are just starting our clinical trials. Although there have been safety trials before, we've shown that we can heal tendon injuries, knee, like arthritis issues. We also can show, let's say with the heart, that we can eliminate scarring after a heart attack. So this product, this injectable, is going through what we call the investigative drug application process, and ultimately we anticipate achieving a biologic license. And this liquid product will be available. We have biologics license to do successfully initially on the heart, but we anticipate, as we have seen in our research, we have success in treating multiple organ systems, and of course treating musculoskeletal issues such as arthritis and tendon injuries.
Right. And
So
tell me
this
about
is
the
what's driving me
content.
currently is
The content of that liquid, that goo that you're talking. Is it
content of
stem
injectable?
cells? Is it peptides? What is in there that is contributing to all of that? And are you one of the only companies actually
so that is
researching
made
this?
up is acellular. So we use what's
And are you one of the only companies actually researching this?
No, we're not. Now we're not the only ones. Back in the early 2000s, we were the only company, but now many other people have jumped on board. But it is a challenge, and it requires a lot of money to do these clinical trials. So the competition is narrowing in this particular field. We focus on the exosomes. So we're doing an acellular product. We're not using the stem cells, but what we're doing is we're using the what the stem cells produce, the exosomes. Now, exosomes are a grab bag term that everybody's using these days. And exosomes are just a small piece of a cell. So let's say a stem cell will produce, think of it as a pharmaceutical factory. So the stem cell produces lots of exosomes. Those exosomes contain a variety of growth factors, microRNAs, messenger RNAs, and these are all of the components that are required to rebuild tissue and to reduce inflammation, modulate your immune system, so instead of being very highly inflammatory, it is more regenerative. So when we bring all of these components, 1,500 different growth factors, several hundred different microRNAs, several hundred different messenger RNAs that are naturally produced by the pregnant mom to develop a brand new healthy baby, we're collecting all that leftover, and those are the components that drive other people's regenerative process. Now, people say, well, why isn't it like a heart attack or a heart transplant or a lung transplant? Well, the beauty of these birth tissues is they have almost zero immunogenicity. In other words, there's no risk of you receiving somebody else's birth tissue. There's no risk of a graft, what we call a graft-host reaction, because they don't have any of the pieces that identify it as an individual. All right? So that's the beauty of these materials, is we can use it on anybody. We can use it on any mammal. We can use it on horses, dogs, cats, etc. And we see the same functionality.
And what's going to be the commercialization strategy?
don't
What will
hear
be
you,
the
Charles.
pricing, and how will you actually get to market with that?
Right. So currently we're in market with our membrane patches, and we sell that mostly into the diabetic wound market through a distribution model. So BioXtech is a contract manufacturer. We make our products for people who have what we call Q codes. So the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid assign people a Q code, and the Q code designates a certain recipe for that particular membrane, and then that distributor with the Q code will come to us and say, here's our recipe. Can you make us these patches? And then we make them for them. They then distribute them to wound care clinics, hospitals, physicians, offices to treat a variety of different wounds, like I said, in the wound care. Now, in the surgical space, let's say for heart, we go directly to hospitals. We go directly to cardiothoracic surgeons. We also have a good footprint in the gynecological surgical space and the ophthalmology space, where these membrane patches, especially in the eye for ophthalmology, work great. If there's a cornea abrasion, you put this patch on, it heals it up fairly quickly. The bigger market for the patches in ophthalmology are for dry eye. Works longer and appears to have better functionality when you put this patch on the eye for dry eye. And there's lots of causes for dry eye, and I'm not an ophthalmologist, so I can't really opine on all of the causes of dry eye, but I can opine. I've seen how successful these patches are in eradicating and treating dry eye. But there's lots of inflammatory conditions of the eye. Someone may have read in the British publication recently in the news, they talk about a chemical burn of the eye, and they put this patch on. It saved the patient's vision, and there's several articles in the literature as well as in the public domain that talk about the success of these patches for eye disease, especially chemical burns and dry eye. Our other membranes, we have success in treating in open heart surgery. Our primary investigator, Dr. Calpe in Arizona, has shown that he's reducing the incidence of atrial fibrillation with open heart surgery when he lays this patch on after he repairs the heart. So we have several studies ongoing that will be presenting the FDA to show how successful, how safe, and efficacious these type of materials are. Our go-to-market right now is patches. Cosmetic is a topical cosmetic released under the name of Biolumina, and that's through a separate distribution company that sells these topical cosmetics to medi spas and places like that. And our injectable is not for sale as of yet.
Right. My last question is, how do you navigate with the FDA? How do you accelerate that process and make sure that you get to market as fast as possible to please the investors?
Yeah, so our go-to-market is first we had to do all of the basic science. We have to show what is the mechanism of action. We have to show that we have consistency of product from one vial to the next. So all of this testing and validation, that's what's taken the last 2 years to accomplish. Now we're entering the phase of bringing this to clinical trials, and hopefully those clinical trials will be starting by September, if not sooner. And we're hoping that we'll have a very. We're not just hoping. We know since there was a phase where FDA allowed us to use this previously before requiring the biologics license back prior to 2019. We already know that it'll be successful in the clinical trials. So we anticipate, and we're hopeful with the FDA, maybe even with some of the new administration changes at FDA, that may accelerate the process, that we can hopefully achieve this biologics license within the next 24 to 36 months.
Right. Just one last question. What does a day-to-day in your life looks like nowadays? What habits you practice to stay on target?
Day to day is a daily challenge. I'm working at raising money to pay for all of our clinical trials. We have an initial investor of even we built this. We had our initial investors, our seed built out an 11,000 square foot what we call CGMP CDTP manufacturing facility here in Pompano Beach, Florida. 11,000 square feet, 8 clean rooms, all certified, FDA inspected. We have our American Association of Tissue Banks accreditation. So our next phase is raise $25 million. We believe we have a lead investor. We just signed a document. We just did finalize some due diligence, but it looks like our lead investor will be bringing in $10 million, and that will really accelerate our clinical trials on not just the heart, but on a couple of other topics. So that will really, we'll be able to do multi-site clinical trials. That'll accelerate us quite nicely. I need to raise another $15 million because there are some fees associated with the FDA. Once we do get to the finishing our phase 3 trials, and so I'll need additional funding to pay some of the FDA licensing fees. So I'm looking to raise another $15 million in our Series A. But my day, so what does my day look like? It's talking to lots of people. It's talking to my scientists. It's talking to my investigators. It's talking to our present customers. It's working with my incredible team here, my quality team, my production team, my logistics teams, I really have built an incredible, brought in some incredible people to help us scale and drive this business to success and bring these regenerative therapies into mainstream medicine.
Love that. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bruce, for coming on. Where can people find out more about you?
So they can go to our website, bioxtek.com, bioxtek.com. They can visit our website. They can email from the website to me, and I'll be happy to answer their questions. I do have some limitations what I'm allowed to talk about with FDA, but happy to show what we can make claims about.
So that was Dr. Bruce Werber and Charles Cormier for another